Let's see here. I tried to set up this event earlier and it's not streaming by the appointment that I said, so I need to update the link really quickly. Let me turn the volume off so I don't get the echo. Okie doke. Technology, you gotta love it. Give me 1 second. Let me update the link in my school community and we will get started here. Okay, let's remove that. Let's add a new link. All right. Let me change one more thing and then we can get going. Again, I apologize for this. I thought I had this all set up for the for the link and it didn't work. So we're all good. All good. All good. All good. All good. All right. Perfect. All right. So thank you. Let's see here. Let me just see if I can see the I don't think I can see the chat though. That's the only problem. Um hmm. Let me check one thing here. I don't think I'm going to get a chat on this, unfortunately. So I'll have to add it later. Okay. All right. I hate that. I had that all set up. All I had to do was just, I've streamed live before from Zoom to Facebook. And for some, I mean, I'm sorry, Facebook, from Zoom to YouTube. And I've had it always set up in the past and it worked. But I'm going to have to test this, I guess, a little bit more before I do, because I haven't done it in a while. And let me turn this down a little bit so you don't see the glare on my glasses. So unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to see a live chat, which is what I wanted, but I'm not going to be able to see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see here how I want to do this. Um, oh, wait a minute, I do see a chat. There we go. Okay, let me pop that information in there. Okay, I just saw something pop up just now. Yeah, just trying to see if I can see the chat on YouTube. That way I can communicate with you. All right. This isn't the ideal way to start a live stream with all this technical stuff, but I do see a chat box now. That's what I couldn't see earlier. So again, thank you all so much. If you're watching the replay, I apologize for the first few minutes of trying to get this sorted, but I wasn't able to get this. I thought I had it connected from Zoom to YouTube to go in right away. That didn't quite happen the way I wanted it to. So we may have some people join live. If so, pop your name in the chat and say hello. I'm going to try to keep the screen up where I can kind of see the questions coming through. Also, what I'll do is I'll pull it up on my phone as well. And then that way I can see it that way also. So give me 1 second and then we'll get right into it. All right, here we go. Screen up. Okay, let me turn the volume down so it doesn't get the echo. And then that way I can see the chat on my phone. That way I don't have to look at my computer screen at the same time. All righty. So again, I apologize for for the delay getting this started. I promise for the next live stream, I will have this more sorted out, and so that I can be more efficient with it, because I know that the first few minutes of time is very valuable, and I don't want to waste your time. All righty. So anyway, thanks so much for coming. Let me close out some windows here, and then we can go ahead and get started. So my name is Rodney Washington, and I am the creator of the Published Creator podcast, which if you're on this YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, you are on my channel where my podcast is also my podcast also broadcast. I also have it available in audio, and those recordings are also available here on the platform as well. So you can watch the videos when I do interviews. Sometimes I do solo episodes, but lately I've been doing more interviews. And I also do single sessions, podcast only audio sessions. So those, I also have that stream pushing into YouTube so you can see those there as well. So I wanted to create this, and I know this was kind of a last minute impromptu sort of a experience, but I wanted to create this because it was really important to me that um, I continued the conversation that started with an event that I did. And, with an event that I did a couple of days ago with a colleague, Lana Makara. Lana is a publisher of Vendala Publishing. And she and I did a training, a class together that I call the Authorpreneur Experience. And I just want to also make sure that I've got the right headphones going on too as well. Okay. All right, great. And so I'm sorry, the Authorpreneur Experience, the Authorpreneur Decision webinar that I did a few days ago with her community. And that was a paid experience that I had with her community. So I'm not going to do the entire webinar today, but what I do want to do is I want to kind of go over the highlights of what I talked about on that webinar. And I'm after doing it on Thursday when we did the event, I became more committed than ever that the conversation that we're having around getting getting your identity as an author, from just writing a book to being an authorpreneur, which is a combination of being an author and entrepreneur. And the conversation was so powerful, I felt, and the feedback that I've gotten so far has been so powerful that I felt like it will warrant it a little bit more of a deeper dive into the conversation. Now, on that presentation, I talked about the 10 identity traits, character traits that I feel every author should have as you are working on your book, whether you are in the process of writing your book, especially as you're writing your book, or after the book has been published. And these are identity characteristics that and again, it was really echoed back to me by the attendees of the event, how powerful and how important this conversation is. Because what happens for us as authors, typically what happens is we tend to go into an isolation period where we are working on our book, understandably so. And we don't tell a lot of people that we're doing it. We don't, maybe not even tell very few people that we're doing it. And I feel like I don't feel like I know that is a missed opportunity. It's a missed opportunity because if you've never written a book before, or even if you have written a book, you know how much of yourself goes into the creation of that product. It takes time, ideas, you're writing things down. You're not, even before you even get to the editing process, you are already in the process of trying to develop the best possible representation of your voice in written form, whether it is a physical book or digital book or both. So we take a lot of time to develop that. We take a lot of time to get clarity around this and what we're doing. And what I want to say is that while it's extremely, and I understand it's extremely tempting to just really have a tunnel, like a focused vision about what we're doing. We want to stay on, we're trying to stay on task. We want to keep ourselves focused. We have to give ourselves time to write, times to think out ideas, time to process, time to reevaluate what we're saying, how we're saying it, the examples we want to share, the stories we want to share, all the different components that go into development of that product. We want to be really clear about what we're saying. And let me be clear, because I've written books myself and I helped many people develop their books. It takes effort, it takes time, it takes concentration, it takes focus, it takes introspection, it takes so many different parts of ourselves to develop what we want to have out there in the world representing us once it's on Amazon or whatever, where bookstores, wherever it happens to be. So with that in mind, the idea to not talk about it a lot, to not share our process and what we're going through, even if we are quote unquote struggling a bit with it. Um, we feel like we want to put our best face forward. So we tend to, like I said, go into isolation mode. We go into our little cave. We don't talk about what we're doing a whole lot. We just kind of hope that everything, all of the blood, sweat, and tears and money and everything we're pouring into this project will pay off once the final copy is in our hand. So I want to circle back to that is a massive missed opportunity because when we are not sharing, this is in the content creation game right now, especially people who do a lot of video content. You may or may not have heard this term before, but the acronym is BTS, meaning behind the scenes content. So when we can see behind the scenes, when we can share with our audience behind the scenes about what we're doing, our process. Imagine that you're writing your book and you decide to go for a walk and an idea comes to you, or a topic or an idea that you want to put in the book comes to you, or you're struggling that day. You're just like, I've been really working at this. This is getting really kind of tedious. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like this is more than I bit off more than I can chew, whatever. Or you had a really great experience with someone, or even a challenging experience with someone that you want to feature in the book and you want to share that part of the process. Um, that type of content actually works in our favor because the people that we are making this book for, they are able to see and experience in real time our journey. Like our journey to the book actually is equally, if not more so valuable than the final book they get themselves when it actually arrives in their hands. And in the world that we live in now, where we really want to peel back the curtain and really see what's going on behind the scenes, that's a massive opportunity. And I'll say it to you for multiple reasons. It's a massive opportunity, not just from content creation perspective, but it's an opportunity for us to do what I feel is extremely valuable and extremely important and often overlooked in the authorpreneur space or the author or the book writing space is letting people see our journey, letting people see the path that we are walking as we are doing this, letting people see what we are working on as we're working on it. Yes, the joys, the highs and the lows and the struggles and all of it. The reason why I don't feel like I know this is so important is because you are literally gathering people that are buying into your message behind the book, not just the book in and of itself. And when we're able to do that, people, your audience, the right people that are supporting you and what you're working on will feel like they are a part of the journey. And when they feel like they're a part of the journey with you as you are creating this, and I'll take it a step further. I think some of the best marketing that you could ever do, whether your intention for this was it or not, I think some of the best marketing you can do right now is to write a book and share your process as you're writing it. Because think about it, a lot of people want to write a book. Now, they may not always admit to it, but a lot of people do want to write a book. Or they'll say, one day I'm going to write a book. How many people have you heard say that? Maybe you said that one day I want to write a book. And again, not trying to negate anyone's creative process, but what I'm going to say is if you are waiting to not share it all until it's finished, I just want to, I don't necessarily want to say challenge you, but I want to shift your perspective a little bit about sharing the journey as you're working on it. And that can be through, let's say, your social media, whatever platform that you're on. It can be in person. It could be with current and existing clients. It could be a variety of different, things. That part doesn't matter as much is that you are, again, inviting the people who are supporting you in your work into your journey, into your world. And when you're able to do that, not only does it open up, obviously, the opportunity to get more direct sales of your book pre-launch before the book even comes out, which is really important, but also from an entrepreneurial perspective, it gives you an opportunity to create monetizable experiences that you can capitalize on as you're writing your book. I'll share an example. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. And I'm going to share some of the presentation that I did on Thursday. And let's see here. Let me share my screen. And what I'll do, actually, let me just pop up that slide so that way when I get over there, we won't have to look at everything. And I'll share that screen with you. Just give me 1 second to pop over there. All righty. So this is one of my current clients. I'm actually going to share two of my clients with you right now. So this is one of my current clients, and Dr. Anna Schmidt. Anna is developing a book called The Unwritten Rules of Work. It's about how to navigate being in a volatile workplace, in a challenging workplace, especially if you have ADHD. She herself is self-identified as ADHD. When Anna came to me, she was already writing her book. She already had a publisher she's already working with, but she wanted to start generating interest in the book long before the book came out. At the time when we started working together, we didn't know how long that time was going to be. I'll explain in a moment. But when she came to me, she had she had one really big asset working in her favor. She had a very prolific following on YouTube. I mean, on TikTok, sorry. I think at the time when we started working together, she was close to about 26,000 followers on TikTok. And the very first thing when I did her intake, the first thing I did was I said, okay, two things. You've got this following, you've got this active following who's listening, watching your videos, commenting, high engagement, all the right things. But then I looked at her email list that she had when she started, when I came on board. She had, again, about 25,000 followers on TikTok, and she had about 100, maybe 100 so names on her email list. Immediately, the red flag went up for me. I'm like, okay, you've got all of this energy, all this attention happening on social media, but it's not reflected in who is in your ecosystem. Because TikTok is not any social media platform. It's not our ecosystem. It's their ecosystem. It's their platform. And as we well know, any platform that we're on right now, especially social media platform, can go away overnight without any reason. Ironically, since I'm saying this right now, she started transferring a lot of that energy over to YouTube. And I believe she got up to about 15, 16,000 followers on YouTube. And recently her Google account was hacked, and that YouTube channel is gone. So all of that she built up over there, it may come back. We still don't know yet. But the point is that what happened to her, and I've seen this happen to so many other people, echoes what I constantly drive home to my clients and my podcast listeners is you must build your own ecosystem. You must have that. What I mean by your own ecosystem, I don't mean a website with all the bells and whistles. I mean a dedicated landing page, where you can collect contact information from people who are interested in the subject that you are writing your or designing your book about. They give you their contact information, name and email address, maybe phone number. You might want to ask for that. And in exchange for that, they get a sample chapter from your book. It can be a digital download, a PDF. It could be an audio. It could be a combination of those. It could be a digital flip book if you don't want people to have access to the PDF. Whatever it is doesn't really matter. The fact that you are getting contact information from the people who are expressing interest in your book long before it actually comes out. We all have the ability to do that. And I have found in my experience, many authors don't do that. They wait till the book is published, they wait to put it up on Amazon. And even if that is indeed the case and the book is up on Amazon, if someone buys your book on Amazon, if you don't have the contact information of the people who bought that book, you still don't have the contact information of the person that bought that book unless the book is structured in a way where that you are seeding invitations inside of the book for them to then come into your ecosystem. You don't know who bought the book. And Amazon or Barnes Noble, well, I don't know about Barnes Noble, but I'll speak for Amazon. They are not going to tell you who bought that book. They'll pay you your royalty payment, but they're not going to tell you who is the person that bought the book. So why I say to do this well before the book comes out is have a dedicated landing page where someone can get a sample chapter from your book. You give that to them in exchange for name and email address, and you're building up your own database. Then, during the process of sharing the behind the scenes content, keeping them nurtured and warmed up and interested, that's one aspect of it. But did you also know that you can monetize that audience while you're still working on the book? This is exactly what I did with Anna. So she came to me in May of last year. In August, about 3 months later, again, I kept seeing how rapid her TikTok following was growing. Now, by the time that I got involved, I immediately set that landing page up for her. And we had 4x her email list between when we got started and by August. I think it had gone up to 4 or 5x. So we had about 400 to 500 people on her email list, where she was getting hardly anyone on her email list because she had nothing set up to collect them, other than saying I have a newsletter, which is, okay, but not quite enough. So I said to her, now at the time, we were leaning towards, I shouldn't say leaning towards, we had the understanding from her publisher that the book was going to be coming out in November. That's what we were kind of told. And she was still finishing up the final edits and all of that, and still getting the manuscript submitted to the publisher to go to the editor and all of those things. But she had built up such goodwill with her audience because it was growing so rapidly. I had an idea, and I said, you know what, Anna? I says, why don't we set up, in her case, and I'm not saying this is going to be for everyone, I'm going to say in her case, I said, why don't we set up a community, a paid community? Because she was also doing coaching as she was working on her book. So she had coaching slash consulting. And while she had, some things on her website where she was offering that, it really wasn't anything that was actively being pushed a lot. So what I said to her was, I says, why don't we set up a paid community? And what you can do is you can spend 1 hour a week and just engage with the people who are already actively engaging with you on your social media platform, which at that time, again, was primarily TikTok. It was a little bit going on with YouTube, but primarily TikTok. And that way they get a taste of your coaching, and it'll be a two-way conversation, not just you talking at them via social media as you were doing now, as she was doing at the time, but turning into real under the hood. These are the people she's writing this book for. Let's start a two-way conversation so that she can really get clearer about where her audience is, what their struggles were, and what's happening for them. So when we did that, we launched it for $15 a month. And I got another idea and I said, why don't we try this? If they prepay for a year, they'll get a copy of the book when it comes out. That one was the one that started generating the most sales. Now she still has recurring monthly people every month, but we sold those bundles like right away. And we did it again, and the bundles went quicker. They had an opportunity to kind of get an idea of how she already was as far as her coaching and teaching and support style was because they watched the YouTube videos. But now they had a chance to come and be with her once a week in a closed meeting where she could answer direct questions. And then she could upsell them into other coaching packages and other consulting sessions that she had. So we bundled the book with that annual plan, and that's what helped her generate her first $1,000, like almost like right away. And then we just continue that. So I would say between monthly recurring and bundles that we've sold, she's made several $1,000s as a result of that, bundling that. Now, at the time, we didn't know that the book was going to be a couple of months past when we thought it was going to come out. The book didn't come out until January, but we were still able to generate money 5 months before the book came out. That's an example of what I mean by an authorpreneur. You're not waiting until the book is coming out, till the book is available to buy online. And you are not relying on single copy book sales, what I call onesie twosie book sales. Because the truth of the matter is that you're not going to make that much per unit. You might make $5 or $6 or so per unit. That's not a lot. So I'm saying is why spend all of your time and all of your effort waiting to put the book up on Amazon to make a couple of bucks here and there where you can start monetizing right away based on what you already have as you're still working on the book. So now what's happening is she's providing real-time support, which is because you think about it, most people in the coaching and consulting realm, what they want to do is they're writing the book because they want to use the book to make money. I'm saying use the fact that you are writing a book. Don't wait until the book is done to position yourself so that you can start getting income generated as you're working on the book. There's no point in waiting until the book is done. But being an author, and if I ask the question, if I ask the question, most people will say, I'm writing a book because I wanted to help position me for authority. Now, listen to that. I am writing the book because I want to use it as a positioning tool to help me generate and get more leads, more clients for my business. People don't say when my book is published, then I can start doing this. I'm writing it to do that. You can monetize as you're writing it. Anna is living witness to that. So it's a shift in the way that we think. It's the core definition of what I say when I say the term authorpreneur. You're not focusing on just writing a book. And no, let me back it up. You're not waiting until the book is published to use it for leverage. The fact that you are creating it creates the leverage. The fact that you're creating it opens up the opportunity for you to be able to monetize as you're writing the book, as you're working on the book. And people now, this book was delayed by, again, basically 2 months between when we were told the book was going to come out and when the book finally came out. But the people who pre-bought those bundles 3 months prior were far more patient with the fact that the book took longer to come out than we initially thought because she was already supporting them as she was working on the book. So again, the book is a leverage tool that we're using to move the needle, to move people closer to wanting to work with us, but we don't have to wait until the book is physically in their hand to accomplish that. And that's the reason why I'm suggesting so strongly that you start to develop a mindset to do this as you're creating. And that's going to mean that you're going to need to start sharing your journey, your process, what you talk about, what you teach, how you coach, how you support, how you inspire, how you lead, how you motivate as you're working on the project. All righty. I have another client I'm working with right now, and her name is Nicole McCain. Nicole just released her digital version of her book called The AI Powered 1 Hour Workday. Nicole is an AI consultant. She helps businesses, entrepreneurs, and businesses set up automated AI systems in their business to handle all tasks that they no longer need to be spending their time on doing because it's not generating a good ROI for them. So she helps to set those systems up inside of someone's business so that they can start leveraging their time away from doing the $10 task, stepping over the $100, the $200, the $500, the $5, the $10,000 things they should be focusing on because they're doing something that's over here for $10 that an AI system can come in and do. Now, when Nicole and I started working together, she had her book available on Amazon to buy for pre-launch. She started selling that AI version. I'm sorry, AI. She started selling the digital version of the book, I think about almost a month and a half before it was actually released. And she used a combination of that in her community, in her case, her school community, to generate sales for the book, as well as generate interest in her paid services. Now, since the release of the digital version of the book, the physical one is still in the works. That's going to be coming out in about the next couple of weeks or so. She launched a paid version of her school community, and she is also developing a done with you service that's going to be, I'll just say, mid four figures. Okay, and so she's already building in the monetization aspect of what she's doing into her business, but she's using the book as a leverage tool to be able to seed those other higher ticket, mid to lower ticket to high ticket level services. This is again what I'm talking about when I say being an authorpreneur. Okay, you're not waiting for the book to come out to start leveraging what you're working on to do that. And that's the thing that I really want to encourage you to do. If you're watching this and you're working on your book and you're waiting around or you're thinking about, well, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to, I hope I sell a few copies of it here and there. Listen, if what ends up happening is that you end up with, let's say, a 500, a 1,000, a two, a five, a $10,000 offer, or multiple like a membership community or something like that, and you're making hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. If that's happening for you as you are working on your book, why would you wait until the book is done to offer those things? Use the fact that you are positioning the working on the book as a way to offer those other services. Don't wait until the book is done. And even if your book is done, and that's okay too, you can, then you can still leverage these opportunities. But I'm saying don't wait until the book is done to do that. All righty. Yes, someone just commented on there. Yes, it's a wonderful book. And like I said, the physical iteration is coming out soon. We're working on that right now. So again, I really want to encourage you. I want to inspire you through this conversation of what it means to start to think from an entrepreneur related mindset. I'm going to say this too. A lot of us struggle with this because there's a tendency for us, especially for us as creative people, we tend to want to hide behind our work. We want what we're creating to be the face of what we do. And the number one thing that I've said, and I've helped many people develop their book, the one thing I say constantly, if you really want this to take off, if you really want this to really move the needle, if you want this to help people, inspire people, motivate people, engage, the audience, we as the entrepreneur must be willing to get in front of our book. We are living in a time right now of the personal brand. People want to know who they're doing business with. They want to know what you are about. They want to know what you stand for. They want to know how you think, how you handle, how you conduct yourself. They want to know that. They just don't want to buy information. When I started in the online marketing space back in the early 2000s, it was called information marketing. That was the age of when we bought programs that they sent us a bunch of CDs and DVDs in the mail. And then that switched over to everything being digital. And we used to think that that's what people were just buying was information. People are not just buying information anymore. We can go on Google and chat GPT and look up information. What we want to know is information that we're getting, is it accurate, especially in the age of AI. We want to know, is the information accurate? Is it applicable to me? How can I implement it into my own world? And that's where us as leaders, it gives us the ability to do that. But we can't do that if we're trying to let the product do the selling for us. So you must be willing to shift the way you think from being an author of a book that's living on Amazon that makes a few dollars here and there to being the authorpreneur or the entrepreneur who has authored a book. And when you shift your thinking that way, when you shift your identity, it's not even your thinking anymore. It's not about thinking anymore. It's about identity. When you shift your identity that way, then you will actively activate parts of your brain that will turn on, where is the opportunity? Where can I support my people? Where are they already hanging out? Where can I meet them where they are? How can I create experiences that bring them into my world so that I can help them develop their world? We must shift the way we think. And we must shift the way we show up. Just putting something up, I'm very passionate about this, as you can tell. Putting something on Amazon and waiting around for a couple of bucks that you're going to make off this book that you got to wait 30 to 60 days for is not cutting it. Can people do it? Of course. If you really just don't want to do that, great, do that. God bless you. I'm not throwing shade at you about that. I'm saying is that there are massive opportunities waiting for you if you are the person that wants to take advantage of that. But you got to want it. You got to want it. You've got a wonderful asset you're working on. Don't hide behind it. Don't hide behind it. If you're willing to do that, we can rock and roll and do some things. I want to share one more testimony. No, it's not so much a testimony, it's just an experience. This is a young lady who do not personally know. She was actually introduced to me through Lana, who was on my webinar I did on Thursday. So I do not know her personally, so I'm only sharing what was shared with me. But I absolutely love this lady's story. So she created a book published a book called Dinner for One. I just learned about it a few days ago, but And what she did was absolutely brilliant. So she took her book to the company Sur La Table, who, if you're not familiar with Sur La Table, it's a very high-end luxury brand of cooking for people who love to cook. So any type of high-end, um, kitchenware, all kinds of things for the kitchen. Sur La Table is a place to go. Sur La Table has a very active workshop series that they do. So, what Lana shared with us on the call, hence why I have this slide in the presentation here, she approached Sir Latab about the book and wanted to teach a workshop based on the subject of the book to Sir Latab. And from what I understand, they immediately loved it. She's done workshops with them online as well as in person. And according to what was shared with me, I don't have 1000% documentation of this, but what was shared with me on the call is that this Kirsten has sold 1,000 copies of her book in addition to the workshops that she's done online and in person, all because she approached this business that had alignment with the audience that her book was written for. She pitched to do a workshop with them. They jumped on it. And now she's built up not only a brand for herself, but she's made far more money than she would have had she just focused on putting that book on Amazon by itself and letting it do its own thing. So she saw, where is my audience hanging out? Where do I like hanging out? And then she did the thing that you may hear me say repeatedly. She created an experience. That's where your money is. Your money is in creating experiences. When you create experiences, whether it's in person and or both online, that's where your real income potential really is. So I encourage you, as you're listening to what I'm saying today, I want to encourage you to put your antenna on as you're going around about your day. Look at who could I align with? Who could I partner with? What local businesses could I approach that I could maybe do something like this with? We step over so many opportunities because we're not even looking at what's right in front of us. I'm going to share another one with you. This is another client of mine. Her name is Keisha Williams. Keisha developed a coloring book, a coloring and activity book for her 9-year-old nephew that she wanted to teach about money. She knew that the teaching of money to children in the public school system was not happening. She was giving him finance books to read, and he said to her that he wanted something more than just something to read. So she designed this book for him called the Money Alphabet. So each letter in the book equates to a financial term. So A for assets, B for bank, K is for kidpreneur. Okay, as an example. Now, when she came to me with this book idea, because I'm always, again, my mind immediately goes to what kind of experience can we make around this? Who can we align or partner with? When she told me this, I said to her, I says, you know what you should do with this, Keisha? I said, you should go to a local bank or credit union that has bank accounts available for children. When I was a kid, the bank in my town where I grew up in, you could have a savings account for your kids. And I'm sure they still do that to this day. I'm like, you can walk in there with your books, tell them the story behind what you created, what you did, and see if they'd be interested in buying bulk copies of your book so that when someone comes in to open up a bank account for their child, they get a copy of your book. What if Now, as far as I know, she hasn't done that yet. It was just a coaching idea, suggestion that I had for her. But that's just one opportunity. Now, she is trying to get the book in the local school system. That's proving to be much more of a challenge than, initially thought. But again, If she's focusing on schools, that's one opportunity. I'm going to share another example in a moment that's thinking beyond just the obvious. Obviously, you'd go to the schools, but the bank is out a little bit outside the box. So what I'm saying to her is, what I said to her was, if you approach them, first of all, what does the bank want? What does the bank want in this context? The bank wants new customers. They want new accounts to be opened. If you start them young, when they're a child, and the parent, the grandparent, the aunt, the uncle, the aunt, whomever opens up a bank account for the kid, what's the chances are that they're going to keep that account once they become adults? And if the book is reinforcing the mentality about banking and understanding banking, saving, investing, learning about money, that's an easy tie-in. And you know what it requires? Nothing more than you walking into the bank and talking to whoever's in charge of setting up those kinds of accounts, showing them the book and pitching them the idea. They can buy the book at full retail because they're going to make their money on the accounts that get opened in the bank. And if they've got branches, that can be in every branch that they have. Every branch that they have. This is what I mean by thinking differently. This right here is epitome of what I mean by thinking differently. I've got one more example to share with you. So this gentleman is an entrepreneur in the UK. His name is Tim Armu. He created a book called What's Stopping You? This book, this restaurant that you see on the right side here is called King Rooster. It's the equivalent of like a KFC, I guess, over here in the States or whatever. It's a chicken restaurant. When he was a boy, the age of the young man that's in this photograph, he used to go to that restaurant after school. And there was a meal that he would get, which was 4 wings and chips. In the UK, they call French fries chips. And that's what he used to do. When he published his book, he wanted to influence young men who represented who he was when he was their age. So what he did was he said, I could have gone to the school where these young men went to school, but I decided to meet them where they are. And in this case, it was this restaurant. So he went to the owner of this restaurant and said, I want to take over the restaurant. I want to give a copy of my book to everyone that comes in and purchases a 4 wing and chips basket. So he went behind the counter. He's got his books up on the counter, and the books are sitting there. And every kid that buys a meal gets a copy of the book. Then he spent time with the kids talking about what their dreams were, what was possible for them, what they could do when they grew up. And what happened was that very same night, he got this message from one of the moms. My 12-year-old son met you today on his way back from school at a chicken and chip shop on Old Kent Road, where you were giving out your book for free along with some fried chicken. I am writing to you because he spent many of his evenings, especially last night, searching online and how to become a CEO. Meeting you today and starting to read your book has made him realize that he is truly capable of reaching his goals. You have inspired him even more and given him hope. Thank you from a mother who is incredibly proud of her son's achievements so far and prays every day for many more wonderful accomplishments. I am grateful that he had the opportunity to meet you today. I want you to sit with that for just a second and take that in. That's the impact of what we're creating has. That's the impact. I would not think to do that. But the reason why this worked for him is because that restaurant was the one he went to when he was those young men's age. He connected who he was with who he wanted to reach. and met them where they were. Now, did he make money from book sales itself? No, not from them, but that wasn't the point. That wasn't the point. He's investing in his community. He's investing in the youth of his community. And just by the fact that he did that and then shared it online like he did, listen, I found this by accident. I wasn't even looking for this. I barely knew who this gentleman was. And then I saw this and I just went, oh my God, this is brilliant. This is the weight of what we have available to us when we think outside the box. This is why I keep saying constantly about thinking differently. It's opportunities all around us. We just have to have our antennae tuned on for it. And when you do that, you create opportunity for yourself. But we got to be willing to think differently. We've got to be willing to see what's around us. How can we give back? How can we innovate? How can we inspire? How can we motivate? And the fact that we're authors opens up those opportunities for us. Okay. I wanted to see if there's any questions that came in on the chat. If not, what I wanted to do really quickly, and I'd love to, yeah, I just want to see if any questions came in on the chat. If not, it's okay. Again, I just wanted to share that. Now, I do want to go over with you while we're here. I'm going to just kind of pop back up to the top of my slides. I want to go into a little bit about the why I called this event the Authorpreneur Decision Room. And I'm going to go over this with you really quickly. And because at the core of what I'm talking about here is, again, about identity and character traits. And when you can adopt these character traits, it's going to help you sharpen that antennae a lot more to tune in to what's around you so that you can start to reach the impact that you are reaching with the book that you're creating. So I'm going to go over these 10 defining character traits really quickly. So the first one is vision driven. An entrepreneur writes and creates with a larger mission in mind. As I'm going through these, I want you to think about the 4 examples I just shared with you a moment ago. Everyone I shared with you follows these points I'm talking about. They're not focusing on selling a single book. They're focused on building a movement, creating transformation, and creating a legacy through ideas and experiences. They see their book as a platform, not the finish line. 2, they're opportunity oriented. They naturally look for ways that their message can expand into programs, experiences, licensing opportunities, partnerships, community building. Instead of asking the question, how many copies will this sell? They ask, how many doors will this open? Okay. 3, their audience obsessed in the best way. They deeply care about solving real problems for real people. They listen to their audience. They build offers around transformation. And they design content, as I said a moment ago about behind the scenes content, BTS. They design content that creates connection and results. Their goal is impact first, revenue follows impact. 4, their action bias. Entrepreneurs do not wait for perfect clarity. They do not wait for perfect manuscripts. They do not wait for perfect branding, and they do not wait for perfect timing. They believe, I will say, they know that clarity only comes through execution, testing, and iteration. They ship ideas. They refine while they're moving. 5, they're monetization aware. They're comfortable with acknowledging that their message has value. They design intentional offers. They understand customer journeys. They build ecosystems that generate sustainable income. You heard me say that earlier. They're not focused just on book sales. They understand that the most valuable asset that they have is someone's contact information. Because once I have their contact information in my database, not Amazon's, not Facebook's, not TikTok's, once I have it in my ecosystem, I can then reach out to them whenever I want to let them know what I'm doing, where I am, where I'm showing up, how they can work with me, how we can work together. They reject the outdated belief that authors should only earn money from book royalties. They understand that they have much more economic potential than just book royalties. This is the one I love the most. They are experienced designers. They think beyond content delivery and they focus on transformation journeys. They ask, how does someone experience my message? Think about Kirsten, who did the workshops at Sur La Table. Think about Keisha and what she can create working with the banks. The banks might even sponsor a color and discussion session with the kids. Maybe on a Saturday, they can come in. All the children get a book. They get their passbook for their savings account. They can start to see how their money can grow and how it can, change and expand. Maybe there could be like a local pastry shop in the area that might supply, well, no, it's still kind of winter months, that may supply hot chocolate to the kids. They're hopped up on sugar. But you see what I'm saying? Like, how can you take, okay, I've got this place over here and this place over here. How can I combine these two things together and make a cool experience? Because what does the bank want? The bank wants more customers. What is that local restaurant that might supply pastries and snacks for the kids? They want more customers. Everyone wants more customers. You want more customers. How can you fuse all three of you together to create an experience that helps everybody? How does my book translate into workshops, communities, retreats, or coaching? Designing from emotional and practical transformation pathways. Number 7, you're an authority. They are authority builders. They intentionally use publishing to position expertise, to increase credibility, to open doors to speaking and leadership opportunities. They see authorship as credibility amplifier, not just a creative achievement. And read that again, as a credibility model amplifier, not just, oh, I've done the book, I'm published. Okay. Number 8, collaborative thinking. They understand that growth happens through strategic partnerships, through guest experts, through cross-audience opportunities. I just talked about that with the bank a moment ago, with the kids, licensing and co-creation. They are builders of ecosystems, not solo creators stuck in isolation. All righty. Number 9, they play the long game. Long game strategies. Entrepreneurs think in terms of brand lifespan, intellectual property expansion, multi-year authority growth. They're not chasing quick wins. They're building a repeatable influence and an income engine. You're playing the long game, right? And finally, number 10, they are identity-led creators. And this is going to be the deepest trait. This is going to be the foundation on which everything is built on. Authorpreneurs don't just ask, what should I create? They ask, who must I become to lead this message? When you operate from that place, the ideas come to you. The opportunities come to you. The connections come to you. Your antennae is tuned differently. The first one is focusing on what you want to do. The second one is asking, who must you be to do what you need to do? You understand that publishing is personal growth, leadership is required, and visibility is part of service. When you operate under these 10 identity characteristics, everything else just starts to come together for you. But you've got to be willing to think differently about what you're doing, how you're showing up and who you're being. And then have your antennae up that you're looking, you're scanning, like your brain is just on. They call it the reticular activating system when you buy a car or you're looking at a car and all of a sudden now you notice cars all around you, the same one that you thought that you wanted or maybe that you just bought. It's the same idea. Once you're tuned this way, you start looking at the things that you pass probably every day, you don't think twice about. And then your brain starts to go, oh, maybe I could go and approach them about doing something with them. Oh, you know what? I know someone, so let me call them. They just keep popping into my mind all the time. Now, I'll tell you the fastest way to do this. I'm going to stop the share for just a minute. The fastest way to do this is if you can, first of all, even as you're working on your book, identify as an author. When someone asks you what you do, I don't care what your W-2 job is if you have a W-2 job. Don't tell them what your W-2, don't answer with the response about your W-2 job. Answer that you are an author. What does that immediately elicit? What's your book about? You got your end. You got your end. Then you start talking about what you're working on. Or if you happen to have a copy with you, take it out and show it to them. You don't know who you're standing next to, and wherever you may happen to be, you don't know. But by you identifying that way and answering that way, that person may know somebody that knows somebody that can open up a door for you. Or you may know somebody that they can help you, that they can help you. But you can't bring those opportunities to you when you're not telling people who you are. So that's why I'm always encouraging my clients to always, and my students to always identify that way, because it automatically opens the door. Really? What's your book about? And then you tell them. And if you happen to have a copy of it with you, give it to them or show it to them. We're one contact from changing everything. One contact. Now, we may go through 10, 20, 100 before we find the one that's going to really move the needle for us, but everyone along the way is still going to be benefiting by what we have done or what we're doing. So again, I can't emphasize this enough. When the identity shifts and aligns, the opportunities open up for us. But we've got to be willing to embrace that identity. And when you do that, it's a whole new world. It's a whole new game. Whole new game. I can't recommend it enough. So what I want to do is I want to see if there's any questions in the chat. I don't have anyone live on Zoom with me. I'm just, like I said, I'm just streaming to YouTube. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to pop it in the chat. Anything that I've inspired, or even if you read this in the comments later, I would love it if you would, share with me. What I want to do is I'm going to go back to the slides really quick because I want to, kind of wrap it up. I don't want to keep you all day. But what I want to do here is I want to ask you for a favor. So what I did was I created if I can find the window here, put my tab back up. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let me actually show the screen again. And then I'll go over that slide. So I created what I am calling a Authorpreneur Readiness Assessment. I'm going to share the screen here in just a moment. Let me pull it up. And what this is 10 questions that I ask just to kind of take the temperature of where you are on your authorpreneur journey. It's totally free. And if you on your phone, you can, well, if you're on the phone, you can't really do it because you're on the phone watching me. But if you're on your computer and you have your phone handy, use the camera to take a picture of the QR code. That will take you to the assessment. And again, it's just 10 questions that I ask just to kind of take the temperature of where you are on your journey and if I can support you further on your journey. If you are not able to because you're watching me on the phone, then I'm going to pop the link in the description on the video to take that assessment. Again, it's totally free. And if you'd like, leave the last question I ask is for your phone number. If you'd like, I can text you the results of the assessment, and maybe we can hop on a phone call together and see if I can support you further in setting up that ecosystem that I've been speaking about at the top of the call, and help you get foundationally set up. I have found repeatedly that so many of the clients I work with, they really don't have any of this set up. Again, pretty much all the energy, all the time, everything is going into developing the book, but there's nothing being set up to start procuring those leads, start nurturing those leads, and building up that interest audience that you can monetize as you're writing the book. So one of the things that I do is I help to get that set up immediately so that you can start doing that. Um, I know for a fact that it is critical, and it's the one thing I see repeatedly that most people that come to me do not do. And it's a massive missed opportunity. As I said a moment ago, Anna, who I shared with you earlier, had over, I think, 15, 16,000 followers on YouTube. Her channel is gone. Fortunately, TikTok is still available, but like I said, we were able to get a lot of that. Well, not as many as we would have liked to have had, but we did get, we've 10x her email list, basically. So she has around 1,000 people on her email list right now, which she didn't have really much at all when we got started. So I can't encourage you enough. You get nothing else out of what I said today. Please do that right away and start collecting that information because, like I said, if something goes down, at least you can reach out to the people who have raised their hand and say, yes, I want to know more. And you can reach out and let them know what's happening, what's going on. So again, I can't encourage you enough. Again, if you'd like my support in helping you develop this ecosystem and help look at what monetization opportunities are available to you, I do have coaching and support packages that I do that I can offer to help you get set up with all of that. So again, if you do the assessment, again, I'll pop the link in the description on this video. That will tell me where you are. And again, if you want, for us to contact, leave me your phone number and I'll message you and, we can schedule a time to hop on a phone call and talk about it. Again, I specialize in this. I'm very passionate about this topic and something that I know is something that every one of us needs. Every one of us needs something. We need to get something set up of our own. Platforms go down, platforms change. You don't want all of your eggs in that basket. You just don't. It is plain Russian roulette with what you're working so hard to develop. So if I can help you in that way, I would love to help you. The very last thing that I will share with you, and I was kind of trying to say if I was going to do this, and I'm going to stop the share and then pop over to another slide. Actually, no, I don't already have it up. Let me share the screen again. I am working on a book myself and based on this presentation, and it's called The Authorpreneur Decision: Get Paid While You Build Your Book. This is a project that I have been really thinking about now for a while. I'm hoping that somebody's looking to make sure the screen show. Okay, yes. Um, I've been, I'm really passionate about this topic, as you've heard me say, and I'm just committed 1,000% to authors thinking differently about what they're creating. And I know from personal experience that you can get paid far more, far faster than just solo copybook sales. So, based on what I've shared with you today and some of the presentation, I am developing a book around this same subject. And I'm taking a bite off my own plate, my own meal that I've made. It's a book that I actually want to build in a community in real time. I want to practice what I'm preaching. I don't want to write the book off by myself and then come out with it later. I want to actually build it out in real time. And there's some unique ways I'm doing that. And I want to share that journey and process with a select group of people that wish to do that. So as I've talked about the whole ecosystem setup, the whole foundational online presence setup, in addition to the Entrepreneur Decision book and program that I'm developing, if you'd like to know more about that, again, fill out the assessment. And I will, when we reach out, I'll let you know how you can participate in this journey. So I'm building out in real time what I'm telling you and encouraging you to do as well. So again, I'll wrap it up with if there's any last questions anyone has, feel free to pop them in the chat here on YouTube. I've got the chat window open. And if not, I will go ahead and let you go. And I'm going to be doing these again. I'm going to be doing more of these events. So if you got value out of what I did, what I shared with you today, I would love to have you share it with your community and let them know about it. Again, I'm very passionate about this, and I am just committed to helping authors succeed. And yeah, we've got wonderful intellectual property that we're creating, but the book is only one part of it. There's a whole world around it that we can build, and I want to help you. Want to help you on that journey. So I'll just take a look here, see if there's any questions that come in. If not, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me. I know it's a Sunday afternoon. I appreciate that. I know you had a lot of things you probably were going to do on Sunday. I typically don't do things on Sunday, but I thought, well, why not? And yeah, let's definitely, if I can support you, like I said, fill out the assessment and let's talk. All righty. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Again, this is Rodney Washington, your host, signing off, and I'll see you on the next go round. Okay, take care.